Now, do you notice you said there's like fans, like whenever you have fans from a long time ago that have been with you since the beginning, kind of, it is interesting because you kind of listen to them, and sometimes I'll almost go to them for like a point of view of myself that I feel like I can't get anymore.
Yeah. No, I get that, dude. I there's some people, it's been so long since we've played shows, so I haven't seen their faces in a long time, but I mean, there was this one guy in like the South Carolina, North Carolina, and anywhere in that region, he would come to just every single show, and I'd always talk to him, maybe have a drink with him or whatever. He was just like my boy.
Yeah.
And then there was this lady and her family member. They came to, I don't know, like 20-something shows, like in a year or something insane,
Yeah.
And those, you start seeing those faces, and you start really appreciating them and start caring for them. And I if I look for a comment, I might look for theirs first and be like, they get it,
Yeah. Yeah, there is something special about that. Yeah, like I used to have a couple of people that would drive to different shows. Like one guy drove his, like he had this like beautiful car he'd refurbished, and he brought it up from like Tallahassee and drove it up so I could see it at a show one time. Just because we'd had an interaction online, and it was just like, man, it was just interesting, But then I felt next thing I'm riding around the block in his car and stuff like that, It's interesting, the fans you kind of have from the beginning,
It is. I mean, at that point, you don't really think about it. You're like, you may be like, oh, well, they're here again. Great. But the longer you get going and the more people that jump on the wagon, you kind of, I don't know, you just never forget them. I guess you never probably will. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah, super cool. But you can't, like, it's interesting because in the beginning you can kind of have a beer with that one guy, or you can kind of have a beer with that, the mom and daughter that came, and you can give them a hug after a show, and there's, you can hang out outside of the venue and spend a little bit of time with people. But then that starts to go away.
Definitely.
And yeah, I mean, for you can't. I mean, you can't do that anymore.
No, you can't. And like I said, it's been so long since I've even played a show. I feel like things have even for us since the last time we played a show, and now things have grown so exponentially. Totally, I mean, it's like unreal how much they've grown. So I'm not even sure what I can't do inside in a venue, because it's just so much different. But yeah, I remember we used to play some. We started playing shows. Me and my booking agent, we had a whole plan. Instead of going and opening for other people, playing clubs and theaters and opening for someone, let's just go do our own thing in these tiny places and build it from the ground up.
Amen.
So like, we would go to I can't remember, like the Boathouse in Myrtle Beach or something. It was called something like that, and I would play a show for maybe 100 people, 200 people,
probably 100 boats
max.
Too.
Yeah, no, I don't even think it was. I don't even think it was on the water.
Oh, come on, man! That falls out.
Yeah. But I can't remember what. I don't know if that's the exact name. I could be wrong.
Damn, that's like an oyster bar, but they only have lamb.
Yeah, it's like, oh man. But I would bring people up on the bus. And it's like, that's when I first got a bus. It's like I wasn't making any money at this show. I was losing money to pay for this bus.
Yeah, if you have a bus in the beginning, you're losing money to pay for that bus.
I was losing money for sure. And but I would bring them up there and I'd play them some songs, like 4 or 5 people. I'd play them songs on my bus, just on the guitar, and they would hang. And it was like, I think that those are moments that I didn't realize how unique those moments were at the time, because I didn't know if I was going to do any more than that. I didn't know if I was going to make it any further. I didn't know if I was going to get another bus. I didn't know if I was going to get a tractor trailer. I thought I might have to give this bus back real quick. So, but it's looking back now, those moments were really unique and special, and I know I'll remember them, and I think they will too.
Yeah, it's funny, man. It's interesting how those moments, it's like they just kind of disappear. They don't disappear. I mean, you always have them, but you can't go back and relive that exact same thing a little bit.
No, you can't. And I think that's part of what makes them unique and special, because if you could continue to do them, then it would just not be as special for anyone. It would just be a known thing. And I think that's part of, the mystique about something like that. But yeah, it's funny to think about, like the steps that you take to get where you're going, and how beautiful a lot of those, those things, those moments that once you look back, you realize how unique and special they were, and you don't, once you get to a massive scale, it's kind of just like, a lot of them are the same kind of deals the whole way through. It's like, oh, you've reached this point. Where do you go now?
Right. Yeah, you start working with the same company. Everybody's it becomes a little bit more like a Best Buy kind of.
A little more corporate.
A little more corporate, yeah.
Good evening, good afternoon, and other times. Thanks for watching that video you just saw. I mean, it was okay. But the next video you could watch could be way better. What if you watch a video right now that changes your life? Well, you could watch this one, or watch this one. Watch this one, watch this one, watch this one. Ah!